Well, Kim, wonderful. It seems ages since we last had a catch up,
Yeah.
and so many things happening. It's so exciting with what you've been up to, and we've been working on some of those keys that you have left over, and we were trying to twist your arm behind your back to get a good deal for the Connecting Consciousness members. But what I think is that's just a part of what if I'm picking up properly, is a really exciting journey. So what I'd like to do is for you to talk to the members of Connecting Conscious and to tell us, the latest, what's happening and where you think we're going with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in the wider world. I mean, these weeks seem like lifetimes, but I've known these guys at BioShield I've known some of them for a very long time, but I've been helping out there in the last months. And I was quite skeptical about technology to begin with, but I mean, it's really, really exciting because I actually ended up taking one of the keys to a clinic in Zurich. I didn't really tell anybody, and I tested it myself on my own blood. And at the end of the session today, what we'll do is we'll just leave everybody with that 2-minute video of the before and after. So I mean, and for me, this energetic medicine, this frequency medicine, this is the future. And I feel like BioShield have been incredibly lucky to work with all of these really talented inventors. But I also think that there's even further to go. There are even more amazing iterations of this evolving in the future in more and more ways as we as humanity face more and more threats from EMF, 5G, the satellites. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And so we've got to think really, really far-reaching ways and deeper and better ways of protecting ourselves. So that's why I got involved with them. And then what's happening is that I think they're down to about their last 800 or so keys. And so I discussed it with Anna, and she really kind of said, look, speak to Simon and just mention that we are getting down to the wire with this before the next evolution. And I think she's saying, yeah, 30% off till the end of this month. So for the rest of the month, the Connected Consciousness people can have 30% off the rest of the keys. And by the way, it's the one that I always carry is this one, the old style one where you can,
I've got,
yeah, and I go everywhere with that. But they also have a very limited dual key version, which has 2 crystals on it, which are actually protecting the nano layer, which has the frequencies in it. And then also they're doing a limited edition of the single one. And really the only difference is they're a little bit more robust because the glass crystal is encased, and also the nano layer is protected by a crystal as well. So that's basically it. And then hopefully in kind of April, well, we don't know, maybe April, May, you and me will be discussing even more things, but we can't really say much more than that now.
Well, I think that although we could say technology moves on, of course it does. The thing is that across this planet, Kim, that things are being rediscovered that were known thousands of years ago and were forgotten or lost. And indeed, new technologies are coming through. So I want the audience to perhaps think that it's not just a new technology. It's a new consciousness, shall we say, that is then hooked up with technology. And we don't mean AI. We're not talking artificial intelligence. We're talking about a sort of a more conscious technology that, in the old days of the analog and the valves, we couldn't have done anything with, but with the modern technology we can. So for me, this is a natural progression of anything that comes down the pipe, shall we say, that we can bring to the people. And like you say, from the little you've told me, I am hoping that as we get towards summer, then we might have something, new to bring to people.
Yeah, I mean, you put it really, really well. It's like, it's not an unnatural thing. Frequencies, we are frequencies. Our cells are pulsing. And we are made of light. And and then the other thing that I really believe in is this heart coherence. And I believe that this a non-invasive harmonizing technology is exactly where it's at. And you and me talk a lot about frequency medicine and the direction of that.
Yes.
I mean, look, Dr. Reif was doing it in the 20s and 30s. This isn't new. And it was completely stopped and crushed. And I mean, there's a whole list of things that have been perpetrated and forced upon us. And this is now a time to be free, to be sovereign, to take charge of our lives in the sense of having the right to choose how we treat ourselves. And there are so many non-invasive ways that we can find harmony and get well. And it is completely about the interaction. It is our consciousness, just exactly like, natural medicines and the things that we talk about in other ways.
Yeah.
And being on the earth itself, we have to reconnect with that source. And that's what I believe that BioShield does. And anybody who's getting involved in the frequency medicine field, that's the future.
I think so. And it becomes more and more stark between those of us who are fully aware, fully aware of the potential of this, what I call unseen healing, as opposed to the more traditional pharmaceuticals. And, I just hope that the vast majority of the human race begins to wake up to the advantages of what you and others are offering. It's just one group or one aspect right across the planet, Kim. People are rediscovering, bringing these amazing things out. It's just that the ones that we've been working with we've been able through you to be able to bring to the audience the biological tests. And I think it's always important that you have a group of scientists or a laboratory behind. And I know that that's one thing you've been keen to try to do. So we're hopeful, in the future that we can actually marry the science with the product. And that for me was always very important. Sometimes you go on a website, Kim, and you find something and it looks really great, but you think, but where's the evidence behind it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've always been keen, and I know you have too.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I think before Jacques Bauer, who's done amazing double-blind placebo tests in Switzerland with Nathalie Kalam at the Health Center. I mean, his work is super impressive, and all of those results, it was 100%. It came out that the BioShield was having this positive effect on the blood under the dark field microscopy. But I needed to see it for myself with my own blood, without any interference, without anybody knowing what I was doing. And so I was very nervous when I went into this place in Zurich, and they were kind of like, what is he doing getting 3 live blood tests in a day? Why does he keep running out to his car? And what's that weird thing with a crystal on the table? But the technician looked at the result after they'd seen what my blood looked like after using 2 mobile phones. It's completely scrunched up, agglutinated, and looks really horrible. And then 20 minutes later, with the BioShield right by my side, they took another blood sample, and she goes, wow, this is crazy. And it went from a reading of 70% agglutination down to 30 in 20 minutes of being in the presence of the shield. And I still didn't really explain to her what I was doing there or what anything was, but she looked at me and said, oh my God, this is incredible. And I think, by the way, this is just scratching the surface. I think that, and I want to take my hat off to everybody at BioShield. They're an amazing group of people, and they really genuinely are dedicated to the betterment of humankind. And they've been hit by all sorts of horrible things and difficulties, but they just strive on. And I mean, Anna, who works at BioShield, I mean, nobody talks much about her, but she's one of the most hardworking, conscientious, loving people that you'd ever meet. She works 7 days a week. She's incredible. And I'm sure some of your members have come across her in the customer service field, but it's been a great pleasure to help her out and to help the team out, and hopefully to evolve into the future with even bigger and better things. So that's my hope for everybody. But and you guys, of course, are right there, because you're at the forefront of the movement of awakening on the planet. And that's
Yes.
why this is so important. Ultimately, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's funny. We were having a conversation, before, and were saying how many other players were approaching connecting consciousness, not along these lines, but on other lines. And it's finally looks like that the world is reaching this beneficial tipping point where good works, good products are actually going to be really supported, and the spotlight taken off the others. Now, what about, Kim, those people that say, hang on a minute, you're the man that sold me the CBD oil?
Look, I've been doing the farming thing. I was brought up on a farm, but I've been working with Michael for nearly 5 years now. By the way, today they're doing a spring equinox
Wonderful.
ceremony on the farm. We're going to share that probably next week. And, for me, CBD has that vibration, has a high vibration. It has a frequency that really is heart centered. And so for me, the two things marry really well. And, I think it's also going to be really interesting to add frequencies above and beyond even what the CBD is on its own. But yes, indeed, if people are thinking, hang on, haven't I seen that guy talking to Simon before? It is in that context. And yeah, but I'm interested in all forms of healing, and I'm really interested in all forms of awakening. And my prayer, I was talking to a wonderful musician this morning about this very thing, is like, how do we help people just remain open-hearted, open-minded, let alone try and convince them of another storyline. It's a huge challenge, but I believe that if we stay authentically in the heart and be just in that heart space, I believe that there's no convincing. It's just that we have to share that, and it's in that loving environment that I believe people can open and flower. And the other thing I do is breath work. So I'm a breath work facilitator, and that is definitely being very helpful for a lot of people who are locked down and fearful, and a lot of people are having a lot of problems at the moment. So I also say this: I know how loving you are, and Becky is. It's for all of us. That's what's important, for everybody to know they're not alone.
No.
We're in this together, and it's so important that people reach out and support one another, and use these healing modalities to stay centered and hopeful, because at times it just feels like so impossible for people. But I really want people to know that they're not alone, and we're all in this together, and we've got this. We really do. It's all going to be all right.
I do believe that, and I've been going 11 years now, Kim, and my message hasn't changed over the 11 years, which was a hell of a difficult journey, but ultimately it's going to be success. And we've always been remarkably different from this very large bandwagon of people, very loud voiced people saying that, humanity is destroyed and we can't win and it's the end and we're all going to burn and all this. And that actually, some of those people need to take responsibility for some of the depression on the planet. There are a lot of people who listen to this doom and gloom diatribe and they become even more depressed. And I would say to people, switch off from that. Don't listen to that, because, there are people right across the globe who are, rediscovering or getting new technologies, shall we just call them that, to the people. And if you are consciously aware, you can find these products and you can fill your home with them. Obviously, it takes money and you can maybe save up, but ultimately, to have one or two products is better than having none. And frankly, I'd much rather be in a protected environment through these technologies, whether they're organic or not, crystalline or what have you. I'd much rather be in that position than be blissfully ignorant and unaware of all these people who, God bless them, they're human beings, but for whatever reason, they're not aware of the danger they're putting themselves in. So that is why, as head of Connecting Consciousness, I was absolutely determined to link in with anybody with good products for the right reasons, and we can counteract some of the nonsense that's out there. So, all right, now then, what's the future? What's the plan? you've got, did you say 800 that we could have as a discount?
Yeah, Anna was letting me know this morning that there's about 800 left, and it is the kind of the final editions of all of the. I think there's 3 different types. It's all on the website, and 30% off. And then we're constantly looking for innovation. So at some point in the future, we hope to be bringing out a wider range of things. Some are more affordable, some will be more expensive because they're to cover bigger areas, and also looking into water, cars, and all sorts of other applications. But one of the primary things we're looking at is protecting kids who are going to school and stuff like that. So we're trying to come up with something along those lines.
Right. So what you're saying is that we're moving from one phase, perhaps, of protection to a sort of different sort of phase of protection.
I'd say a different phase, but with very, very similar technology. But we're working with a really impressive group of scientists who have a lot of background. But we can't really talk too much about it. But we're very confident that when we get really aligned in this, people are going to be very happy. And
will you be able to do a presentation with me on it when the time comes?
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, we're super happy that we have this. I mean,
because
I'm always going to be using my I like to call it the BioShield, but it is BioShield. That's an affectionate nod to Jacques Bauer, who's
well, we certainly use them, in Connecting Consciousness, and I've got mine. The great thing about them is that they're light, they're small, and they were the very first things that I had that was really effective, that came from a source that we could rely on, and that's why that was so expensive. So not that expensive, sometimes you see things for thousands of pounds. And so although it was hundreds, it wasn't thousands, and that's why we were so pleased.
Well, he's he's a very well-meaning, highly creative genius, really, the professor who came up with QNL. And I know that he's working on all sorts of other extraordinary things. And he seems to be going in a different direction now. He's in Switzerland, and obviously we kind of totally love him and are very, very grateful. But in the same time, we're hoping to go in the direction of having something that's more available to more people, more far-reaching, really practical, really grounded.
Well, sorry to interrupt you, Kim, but I mean that was what I was always on at you, if you remember, because I was always saying I wanted it wider, a wider distribution,
I know.
Covering a wider remit. And in some ways you took that on board. And I know in the little, we haven't had much, but the little conversations off camera, you've talked about wanting it to be more affordable or wider availability, trying to stop all the bases of the different sort of issues that we have. And so, for me, it's a natural progression.
Yeah, I think we're getting there, and I'm certain that everyone's going to be happy. And look, I just get really, really excited when there are genuinely things that are out there that work and backed by a group of people who really, really care, who are also walking the talk in their own lives to create a better world and a new earth and a new way of being on the planet. Because there's another side of it that's just cynical. And, that's out there as well. But with this group of people, the dedication that I have seen in all of them in their everyday lives from morning till night is astounding, just like it is with you and Ben, and it's a privilege to be working with people like that and people like this. And it inspires me to keep going. I have my days where I feel overwhelmed. And then I just go, you know what, I'm incredibly lucky to know this amazing group of people around the world who are kind, compassionate, they care about the future. And for all the naysayers out there and all the people that have used the foul language and and a detrimental, that's their call, that's their story, they're allowed it, we can't stop it. But what really excites me is that I meet so many incredible people. I get all of these wonderful letters from your members. I mean, they really are the most extraordinary group of people around this planet, and I am so pleased that they're here, that they're alive, and they're every one of them playing their part in this extraordinary transformation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, they would counteract that. That's why they're here, to play that part. And I would agree with that. All right. So presumably then, I guess that, I'm not that technically minded, but I guess that there will be a link that will go on the website, which will be organized.
Yeah, I think I think Andy's organizing it. We'll get your wonderful guy there. And what we'll do is we'll perhaps wind this up now. I know that we're talking again in a few days about our other favorite subject, or there's so many, but there will be a link at the end. And then just after we finish, we're gonna include the video, which is quite a poetic way of looking at test results, which I hope people will like. And it gives you a glimpse of the dual key and the single key with the crystals. And
what I'm saying is, if somebody does want to buy one, there will be a link there to click to go to.
Exactly. Just from your website, they'll get a coded link, and it'll get them their discount, and it'll run till the end of the month. Yeah. So it's,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And just before we wrap up, has there been any feedback? You did the prize winner on the CBD oil.
Oh yeah.
Did you? What's the latest there? Did they respond?
So I went completely mad, and I got in terrible trouble because we're only supposed to give 1 free year's supply a month, and I ended up giving 3, and lots of free bottles. But we're actually just organising it on Monday and Tuesday. We're going to put that up on the website, and then we're getting lots of other entries. So actually, at the beginning of April, we'll do another one of those. But I have been told. Lots of free bottles, but only one a month of a full year's supply. But we're really encouraging the videos because they're really fun. It's really fun to see people.
Yes, they really are, Kim. They really are, Kim. All right, listen, let's wrap it up then. Listen, God bless to you and to My Connecting Consciousness and all of your people and all good people across the world.
Yeah, to everybody. Lots of love to you both. Love to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gero and Gino, thank you very much for the sub. Much appreciated. And Zerotron, thank you very much for the Prime sub, 4 months. Welcome back. I hope we're all doing well today. Alright, so tonight we've got about 140 videos to get through. Actually, before we get started, I'd better start a prediction. You guys can earn yourselves some points. There you go. I know you love to bet on the full-size render. Added a few more sound redeems as well now, so what do we got? We've got
fuck you fucking hippie cunt.
Holiday over. Added those two there. Use them at your will. They are still manually activated, so I try and use them where they make sense, roughly, but anyway, let's get stuck into it.